Hi, you guys. Hello. How are you? You're hanging with Langan, my official belle. I have a great guest coming up for you in just a minute. Randy Thomas. I am telling you, the creme de la creme of voice artists in America. That's no joke. That's not hyperbole. That is the real deal, my friends. And this is a big deal. It really is, because this is an opportunity for you to learn, listen, connect with one of the most fantastically talented people really in the world. And everybody thinks they're a voiceover artist. Well, somebody said, I have a nice voice. I have a good voice. You don't have shit, my mother would say. So it's really great. If you're watching this right now, I want you to share it. That's how we build the numbers. That's how we build the Hanging with Langan community. Just share it. Tell people to watch. That's what we do here. And if you are watching on the Hanging with Langan group page, I want to be able to see your beautiful name along with your comments. So in order to do that, so easy, because I'll be able to see your comments if you comment there, but I want to see your name associated with it. So all you do is streamyard.com/Facebook. That's it. And then you click on the blue button. How hard is that? Well, Maureen, that's easy. Can you repeat it? Sure. streamyard.com/Facebook. Click on the blue button. I'll get to see your comments. And I already, so when you folks found out that Randy was going to join me tonight, I got so many questions. You're like, oh my God, what if I miss her? What if I have my internet goes down? And you sent me so many questions. So she's going to answer that. But I think very good. All right. Good evening, you guys. Woo, woo. All right. So let me set this up and bring on Randy. I met Randy Thomas. I was performing at a birthday party, and I had some very cool people there. I was performing at a birthday party, and you don't know who you're sitting next to. So many creative, cool people out there. She is the preeminent voiceover artist. I'm not kidding you. In America, her resume, it's stunning. Nobody can do this. The Oscars 10 times. What more? Did you say 8 or 9? No, I said 10. The Super Bowl 3 times. The Emmy Awards 5. The Tony Awards just 20. Just 20. I see what I raised you. Now it's 20. SAG Awards 5 times, Entertainment Tonight 14 years and counting. But because that's not enough, she's become the first female announcer in Nightline's 38-year history on the ABC network. There's so much more she's done. We're going to talk about it. Entertainment Tonight, the producer there, calls her the female standard in the industry. I call her the standard in the industry. Please put your bell to work for Randy Thomas.
Ding, ding, ding. I'm looking. I don't have a bell.
That's all right. I have it for us, Randy.
Okay, good.
Thanks for hanging with me tonight.
Thank you. It's so fun being here with you. I've tuned into many of your Hanging with Langan when you were interviewing, comics and funny people. And I never realized that I would actually work my way into a lineup here.
Well, you know what I try to do here, because I was a journalist for so many years, is bring both worlds together. The curiosity of the journalist, the wit of a comic, and expose people to alcoholics, academics, and comics, and everyone, and people who just interest me, and you're one of them. Well, you interest me because, for a number of reasons, but because of your authenticity, and that's what really matters to me, is authenticity. I don't care how many times somebody's done the Oscars if they're not a decent person, right?
I'm with you.
I know you are.
I think cleaning up your act is a constant state you have to be in.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the deal. People, you're called the gold standard, the creme de la creme, the preeminent voiceover artist in America. I would like to show a clip of just some of, people know you, but they want to see the beautiful face behind your gifts. So here, I'm going to play a short clip, you guys, of Randy Thomas, just some of the things she's done.
Hey, Nightline. This is where the magic happens.
You might not recognize her face, but you know that voice.
Tonight, the changing of the guard.
Democracy has prevailed.
Joe Biden, the 46th President of the United States. Entertainment Tonight, the most watched entertainment news magazine in the world. Live from the Dolby Theater at Hollywood and Highland, it's the 91st Academy Awards. Welcome back to the American Theater Wing's 73rd Annual Tony Awards. The National Football League welcomes you to the Pepsi Zero Sugar Super Bowl 51 halftime show.
So just a little clip of just the 8 minutes, of some of the things you've done. Are you on speed dial for these places? Because there you are doing a Biden voiceover. Who calls you? How does that happen? Give us a day in the life of Randy.
Well, the live shows are, the beast to themselves. So each show that I've done, whether back in the day I did the Emmys or the Oscars or the Tonys, each one is headed up by a production company and a director. The Tonys have been directed and produced by Ricky Kirshner and Glenn Weiss for decades now. The Oscars changes producers every few years, so
Yeah.
every year or two. So that's why the producers make the voice choice. And in the rare occasion where a director has the ability to choose the voice, I have relationships among executive producers, among directors, but sometimes I can be great friends with the director. But if the producers say, no, we want to go a different way, it doesn't matter. So, those shows happen year in and year out up until last year. And that just, put a kibosh on everything.
Tell us about, because of the pandemic, right? Well,
Right.
yeah, well, it's different too. I would imagine you'd get a certain amount of work in other areas because people are trapped at home and there's a different type of audience. Did you see a shift in that?
Well, but let me back up to your other question. A lot of this work is really dependent upon your relationship with the producers, the production companies. So when you ask, am I on speed dial? No, I'm not, but they certainly know how to find me if they want me. I'm not an automatic by any means. I push myself. I promote myself even to the people that I know already like me and like what I do. I still want to remain, fresh in their minds. And also knowing that just in the general world of live voiceover, these are coveted gigs and lots of people want their shot at them. So,
So when you say that you keep promoting yourself, I mean, what does that look like in your world to promote yourself? Can you reach out to people or what does that mean?
But hopefully without having to promote, it's reaching out to your contacts, saying, hi, how are you? What a crazy year. Does it look like the show will be coming back or, previous to COVID, it would be. So, don't know what you're thinking about this year. Would love to be a part of it. And then you either get the call or you don't. But it's really, it's about relationships. And that's what I have.
And it's like that, I think, in any business, as a performer or a broadcaster, people know you or they know your caliber of work or they recommend you or they,
Like for you, like as a comic, if you know the person that owns a particular, club, to bypass all the people that are known as the bookers, right? And you just
sometimes it depends who it is. No, I know what you mean. It depends who's in town.
Sometimes probably not because you have to play the game and that's who they put in control. So you have to go through them maybe, but really you could make one call and go around them.
I'll tell you a time it really worked out for me well is when I wanted to open for Rosie O'Donnell on Broadway and I called the people who were putting it together and they said, she has her openers, thank you. And that was Caroline's on Broadway it was part of their festival. I said, I just thought I'd ask because I love her. And then I get a call a month later. Listen, she wants a couple more comics on the show. So, you just kind of go, hey, I'd love to do that. And
that's like my whole philosophy in life. If you want something, go after it.
Mm-hmm.
And, when they know you or whatever, and it becomes the art of the perfect email is really
the art of the a lot of questions I was being asked. I got so many questions, you guys. And if you have a comment or a question for Randy, throw it up in the comments and I'll see what you have to say up there. No,
wait, do I have access to the comments?
You may or may not, but I have some people who've contacted me a number of different places between Instagram and Facebook. And, you may, if you're on, you should be able to see.
You mean on Facebook?
Yeah, but they're coming from 3 different sources on Facebook. So some I'm seeing on my phone, some I'm seeing here. I multitask, Randy.
We all have to today, right?
Oh, boy, right?
Where would we be without this ability to multitask?
Well, what people see the end results of your many years of hard work, the Oscars, the Tonys, the SAG Awards, the Super Bowl, Entertainment Tonight for 14 years. Now, this is a really cool thing. Nightline's 38-year history, you're the first female announcer.
Yeah. Back in the day when it started, when it was Ted Koppel,
I love it.
we didn't think of it, at least I didn't. First of all, back in the day, I was a disc jockey. So I didn't even think that I was going to become the voice of these TV shows, but to step into a role in a show that's 38 years old and never had a woman. When I did the Oscars, I was the first woman, and it was the 65th Academy Awards. So I wish I was like smart enough or proactive enough that, I would have said, wow, this is incredible. It's about time. It didn't even occur to me. Like, it just happened for me. And then it was only afterwards that people would ask, so, what do you think? You're the first. And it was like, oh, what are you going to do? Say, what took you so long? That's pretty harsh. You don't bite the hand that just put you on a global stage.
Exactly. So I love when you talk about your background, because you mentioned it before, as a disc jockey. I want to hear about your early years and your trajectory and how that happened.
Wow.
All in just a few minutes. No.
Yeah, really. How long do we have? Well, I always say I had a very dysfunctional childhood, but it was perfect because it gave me everything I needed to push for wanting to find my own place in the world and to do it unapologetically. I'm that girl that would rather apologize later than ask permission.
Good.
Because as a kid, asking permission did me no good.
Mm-hmm.
It just gave them a way to shut you down early. So I'm always that person that's apologizing later. And so that's the circumstances that I emerged from. And I went to New York, wanted to be an actor, studied at HB Studios, Bank Street. And I was really just a kid. I just turned 17. I dropped out of high school. I left before my senior year.
Really?
Yeah. Well, for me, I knew that I wasn't college bound. But what pushed me to leaving a year early is my mother had come and gone in my family. And then when she came back, she met a man, married him. He was such an amazing guy. He invited my mom to bring her children, my 2 younger brothers and myself. And he bought a home and he wanted to raise us in it. But I was such a wild child that I created a lot of problems in the household. 2 younger brothers, a mom. I wasn't following rules. I was just wild. So I felt that it would be easier if I left. And so I went to Summer Stock Theater in Andover, New Jersey. And from there, I realized, I don't want to go back for my senior year. I think I'm just going to stay in New York. The guy who was running the camp, he was living in Manhattan, was like, well, you can come and stay with me. It was easy when I was a kid to find people that wanted to help me. And
wow, that's amazing to me that you went to Summer Stock in Andover. By the way, I grew up about 25 minutes away from Andover, New Jersey.
It was called the Grist Mill Dinner Theater. I looked it up recently, the Grist Mill. It's no longer the Grist Mill, but whatever they call it now. It was in Andover, yeah.
Very cool. And then you get to New York. And
I went to New York and I found a guy that I knew when I was 15 living in Miami Beach, who was a photographer. And he said, if you're in the city and you need a place to stay, you can stay in my photography loft.
Oh, okay.
Which was in one of those like buildings in the low 30s between 6th and 6th. It was really scary because like everyone left the building at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And I would be in there all alone. But I think as a kid, I didn't really think about what I was doing. I knew to be safe. There were like 6 locks on the door. I locked every one of them. but that was my beginning, learning how to be a waitress. I worked
Oh,
at
sure. Yeah.
Howard Johnson's on 46th and Broadway. It hasn't been there for a long time, but I learned how to be a waitress at Hojo's in New York City. And from there, I kept working my way upward in terms of restaurants and bars and, thinking that this was how I was going to get to my dream. But
And then how did you break into radio? So here you are, you're in New York, you quit high school, you're living in a photographer's studio in the middle of nowhere with 6 locks. And and then you're like, great, now I'm going to go do the Oscars 10 times, the Tony Awards 20. How the frick did we go from the, what? How did this happen?
So I have no idea other than from wanting to be a waitress and an actress and going back to the photography studio at 11 or 12 or 1 at night, and then I would stay there. I would listen at night to Allison Steele, the Nightbird, on WNEW.
Oh my God.
So she was the first woman I had ever heard on the radio. And back in the day, Allison was like, for those of you listening that have no idea who she was the first underground FM DJ. She was the only woman among many guys.
Gosh.
And they put her on like midnight to 6 or 2 to 6 in the morning. And she would come on and so she was called Allison Steele, the Nightbird. And she would play these like South American jungle things. So it would be like, I'm Allison Steele, the Nightbird. Caw, caw, caw. Like parrots and, jungle sounds in the middle of the night. And then she would say, let's get into a groove here. We've got Mick Jagger first with the Rolling Stones, and then little Mose Allison. And, she was like the grooviest, hippest woman I had ever listened to. And so I realized shortly thereafter that I wasn't meant for Broadway. I didn't sing and I didn't dance. I was a pretty good actor, but I didn't sing or dance. So my chances were limited. So I went back to Detroit, and my mom was like, either get a job or go to school. You can't lay around and do nothing. So I went to junior college, and it was there that I discovered a radio station, and I found my way on
Detroit. So you went to junior college. Did you have to get your GED first?
No, I think I just had to take an entrance exam, or maybe I got my GED. I don't even remember.
You don't know. You don't know.
My life that I've completely blanked out.
No, it's over.
Right?
You're in your phase. You're in Malibu. You got things to do. The grist mill, GEDs. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Daughter, who scoffs at me like, "What do you mean you left high school?" Like, she never knew that when I was telling her to work so hard so that, she would be a great student and go to college one day.
But she didn't rebel like you did?
Not at all. She's like the best kid. Loved. She got all of her satisfaction in the world from her teachers. Loving her teachers, loving learning. Not me. I was.
Well, the two of you, is it on YouTube? You and your daughter did the most adorable lip sync song together, and I was cracking up, and I actually got choked up because there's such a connection between the two of you. I love it. How can people see that? Is it out on YouTube?
It's a YouTube, but will there be will this exist on Facebook with questions or people commenting on Facebook?
There will be, and what I can do too is
I'll put it in there.
We'll put it in there, and you know what I'll do?
I'll bet Rachel's listening right now. Find the video of us and share it or do something so that people can find it.
And I'll also put it on my Patreon as a little extra so people. Huh?
It was from Frozen, and we did it at a time when there were like a bajillion Frozen things. But I think it's gotten more views than anything I've ever posted in my, professional life. Just a mom and daughter singing Frozen got us like 60,000 views or something.
What I'll do is I will tag it to this this interview and have people know where that they can go find it. So that'll be cool.
Yeah. But it's interesting, Maureen, because I feel my mom was, I had a crazy life with her. Mm. And I feel that Rachel's the opposite of that, obviously. That's, she's the one that's together, maybe I did it right is hopefully what I did is because I realize how difficult it is to raise a child. And I didn't think I was even going to do it. I didn't get pregnant till after I was 40 because
Really?
hitting that button like, no, that's not for me. I don't think this is what I want to do. And then in that last hour, I'm like, you know what? I think I should do this. I think I'll regret it if I don't. And so we figured it out and made it happen. And I did it once, and I'm pretty blessed.
Randy Thomas is my guest and my friend. She is the queen, the mistress, the master of voiceover artistry in America. I think just so incredible. And if some of you are just tuning in, I'm going to play the clip again so they can hear some of the great work you've done, Randy. And you know her voice, but now you know her face to go along with the voice. Please stand by. I do my own tech. Here we go.
Hey, Nightline. This is where the magic happens.
You might not recognize her face, but you know that voice.
Tonight, the changing of the guard.
Democracy has prevailed.
Joe Biden, the 46th President of the United States. Entertainment Tonight, the most watched entertainment news magazine in the world. Live from the Dolby Theater at Hollywood and Highland. It's the 91st Academy Awards. Welcome back to the American Theater Wing's 73rd Annual Tony Awards. The National Football League welcomes you to the Pepsi Zero Sugar Super Bowl 51 halftime show.
Pretty cool stuff, Randy. So the thing is, what I want to ask you here, how many spots, because you do commercials, promos, trailers, news voiceovers of Biden's election, how many things do you usually have running simultaneously?
So the thing is, I don't really do commercials. Commercials are a very specific field of voiceover. When I first started in voiceover, before I did Oscars or anything, you'll laugh because I was the voice of Hooked on Phonics. Get hooked on phonics. Call 1-800-ABCDEFG. So that was my first commercial, and it ran every 30 seconds somewhere in America for a couple of years. It was an amazing program that I was a part of. But then once I did the Oscars, and then I had to decide, when you're a voiceover artist, you can't just be like, here I am, I'm doing everything. Because that's not really how it works. You have to have a demo in each specific area that you think you want to work in. And of course, I had a commercial demo because that's the most important one to have. But then I created a promo demo to do network news stuff and affiliates and radio station imaging. And that's mostly what I do. I don't really do commercials anymore. So the job with ABC, for example, is because when I was hired just 3 years ago, a lot of people are congratulating me on my anniversary on LinkedIn.
Congratulations.
Okay, good. Mazel tov. So when I started doing that, then ABC started hearing me, and they would offer me little voiceover jobs within ABC's network, but all within the news genre. And so now when they have big events, I'm so blessed. They asked me to voice them, and I'm just so grateful, because in a world of network news where we may have, women who are the anchors, there have never been women promoting it or being the voice of these major events. And so
okay. So having worked in radio, I know that a lot of times when I was on a radio show, hosting, they would have me read commercial copy. And that would be, the sound of the host, and you're connected to the product, and the advertisers like that. Mm-hmm. But what you're doing is so beyond that, because as a radio, when I worked in radio for so many years, I had a voiceover agent. They'd send you out just because they think you work in radio. I just know, I've told you this, I know how to go mock my mother in a loving way. What the hell is wrong with you? You're good for nothing, piece of crap. And I can talk a little bit more New York. That's what I got.
Hey, listen, I was told you're never going to be anything. You're just like your father. That's what I heard my whole, whole childhood. And I'm like, well, I'll show you.
Yeah, that's a big motivator. So so I'm assuming you did a lot of those in-house radio commercials for wherever you were working.
Yes.
Well, what
It was all part of your air shift. If you did a 4-hour air shift, usually they paid you for at least 6 hours. A shift could be defined as 8, but they realized that DJs had a different kind of life. So they didn't hold you to an 8-hour day unless you had to do music scheduling or other things. But
right.
if you're a DJ and you're worth your salt, meaning you're doing midday, mornings, afternoons, if you're in one of the prime time slots for radio, they don't make you wait around and do a ton of extra stuff. But you do have to record commercials. And I think that's when I realized why it took leaving radio for me to really turn on that actor gene. Because when you're a DJ on the radio and they give you copy like, come to fantasy night at, blah, blah, and don't forget the wet t-shirt contest, at Pocono Joe's or whatever the stupid name is, there were some pieces of copy that would come across and it would make me want to actually like read it like an actor, like take people away during the commercial break and imagine they were somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And I felt that my listeners would feel betrayed by me. Like, who do you think you're trying to be? It's like your friends when you're a kid, right? Who do you think you are?
Right.
I was a DJ. They were used to me speaking to them like this. But if I did a commercial like, imagine yourself 2 nights in a row, like whatever, trying to be something else, they would literally call you up on the request line and bust you, or they'd come. So it felt disingenuous to be an actor when I was a DJ on the radio.
Very interesting. I understand.
Leaving radio for me to go, okay, I can now tap into the actor. I'm no longer Randy Thomas on the radio.
That's really interesting because what you just said there, that's such the hook, because growing up with the Irish mother, you're making a show of yourself. What are you doing? You're full of yourself. Like, you have to be a certain way. So if you expand or try other sides of yourself, it's not authentic for some reason when it really is an expression. Or if I'm doing stand-up and I get really intense and angry on stage, that's my boxing ring to let off all my rage. Off stage, we're like, well, you're so nice. Is that real? I'm like, don't make me hate you. Of course it's real. Of course it's real. But it's not like I'm going to hurt anybody. It's just the boxing ring. And I go, So you did Hooked on Phonics.
Yeah, I'd love to switch this and interview you about how, with that right on your shoulders, how you decided you could, leave all of that. And
well, it's, you get to explore, it sounds to me like, more of yourself. The DJ is one side of yourself, but this acting ability you have, you're able to really release it into the words you use. So if Hooked on Phonics was that your first big gig, or what was your first big gig when you went, holy moly?
Yeah, that was it, because I came to LA from Florida. When I was in Miami, I was kind of a big deal radio star, but I was in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and I had TV commercials and people knew who I was. And when I went to, the electronics store grand opening, like, people came out. I'd have at least 25 people show up. So I came here to LA, and in fact, it took me a lot longer than I thought to even get on the radio in LA, because I left Miami being a big radio star. I came out here and I'm like, so, I'm kind of, I came from a market where I was number one. They're like, really? Like, you're in LA, good luck. And it took a minute. I had to do all kinds of tricks just to get on the radio. Whoops, you muted yourself, darling.
I muted myself. Oh God.
That's the audio expert here.
That's what. Yeah. Do you see the lips moving like a Godzilla movie, or like Langan? Okay, I want to get to some questions people have for you. So if you don't mind, what I'm going to do is just put you in the green room for a moment for this commercial break, and then bring you right back on, Randy.
Ding, ding, ding.
But, well, in a moment, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this special broadcast. This is me. This is what I do for a living, okay? 2 years of graduate school, I used to have a living, a dental plan. So here's the deal, you guys. Support the show if you will. The shows are all free, but they're also pay what you can if you can. That's it. Pay what you can if you can. I'm a giver, so I'm all about love. You don't have to, but if you want to, how do we do it, Maureen? You simply go to PayPal, patreon.me/Mo Langen or Venmo @Mo Langen. Those are 2 ways you can support the show. Next week, I have Jim David joining me, same bat time, same bat channel, 9 p.m. Eastern. Jim David he's a comedian, and he just came out with his new album. It's called Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers, and he recorded it at the beginning of the pandemic on a cruise ship. And I have not performed on cruise ships because you're supposed to be so squeaky clean and be good for grandmas and little kids with like Barney the dinosaur. I don't know how to do that. So I listened to this album. I'm like, I can't believe how friggin' funny. He doesn't care. He just breaks through the walls. He doesn't care. And as comics, you're so used to hearing other people's material, and you're like, all right, that's good. Yeah, good. No, great craftsmanship. Love what they did with that bit. Oh, awesome. You're always studying it. With him, I can't stop laughing. So I want to show you the cover of his album. He'll be joining me next Tuesday night, Jim David. So don't miss that. All the shows. Another way that you can support, if you're so inclined, is become a Patreon member. What is that, Maureen? Well, a Patreon member is where you get access to all the videos, because what I do, when I say we, I mean me, what I do after this is all the audio is uploaded to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get podcasts. So please subscribe. And if you go to Patreon, you get all the videos. So you'll get to see backstage chats, things that may not be in these videos, as well as access to the entire library. And we have different treats. You can get a Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt at maureenlangen.com. or any merchandise at maureenlangen.com. That's my store, Don't Make Me Hate You merchandise. And that's the t-shirt. You can say I came and I got the t-shirt. By the way, the Don't Make Me Hate You, my comedy special's coming out at the beginning of the summer. My album, Don't Make Me Hate You, because I'm all about love. I don't want to hate people. They make me hate them. So I know you have questions for Randy Thomas. My guest is Randy Thomas. She has been the voice of the Oscars 10 times, Super Bowl 3, Emmy Awards 5, Tony Awards 20, SAG Awards 5, Entertainment Tonight 14. I am exhausted. And here's my Randy. Hi. That was my commercial break. Do you love it?
That's so fun. I'm excited you're getting out on the road, and
it'll start happening again. It's insane times, but this is about you. Now, let me ask you something, Randy. A gentleman that when he found out you were coming on the show, and I say this respectfully, he stalked me. I know him. We are paths have crossed days gone by when I worked at Bloomberg TV and radio. Okay. And he sent me the shortest clip and wanted to know if you would listen to it if I played it, and gave it straight out exactly what you thought the minute you heard it. Okay. I've heard you do this on Clubhouse, so I took a chance and said, she might. If you don't want to, I told him no. Would you do it?
Sure.
All right, we're going to do it. Peter, you're such a friggin' lucky duck. You have no idea. And she's going to be straight with you, dude, so hold tight. Ain't nobody got time for bullshit. All right, let's do this. It's just under a minute. Here we go.
When you're enjoying the great taste of a Miller Lite, do you ever think about the way it's brewed? I mean, you're out there with a few friends, drinking a Miller Lite. Does the fact that we add hops at 3 different times during the brewing process ever cross your mind? Yeah, that's what we thought. The world is changing, but how we use energy today cannot be how we use it tomorrow. There is no one solution. It's simply not more oil or renewables or being more efficient. It's all of it. You know what America needs? We need a confidence plan. So let's put our rally caps on and dig in. At Chevy, we're reinventing the ownership experience, introducing the Total Confidence Plan. Raymore and Flanagan can help you piece your bedroom together with that perfect mattress. No money down. No interest till 2013. Save $50 on Sealy Queen mattresses. Now just $3.99. Itchy dry scalp? Could be your shampoo. Finally, there's a new Selsun Blue just for itchy dry scalp. Strong itch fighters plus 5 hydrating moisturizers. So stop the itch and leave your hair healthy. New Selsun Blue Dry Scalp. Get the blue.
All right, straight out. What did you think?
So this is a friend of yours?
It's an acquaintance of mine. I say that respectfully, Peter. We never hung out. We never had drinks together, but we are paths crossed and we worked together at Bloomberg, and he's a big supporter of the show. I'm going to bring his audio on, so hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. So what I hear from you is obviously you have a strong East Coast accent.
That's what I was worried about.
Well, it comes through in the demo. By the way, I thought the demo was really good. I thought it sounds great. But there's a thing about the way that they read commercials. And I think I've already confessed commercials are not my main drag of what I do. But, it's like animation. I don't do animation, but I can tell you if you're doing a good Donald Duck or not. For the commercials, I would say they're good. I mean, what is your background, Peter? What do you do? Are you an
I was actually always behind. I worked in radio, but it was always behind the scenes. I was in sales,
Mhm.
so a lot of corporate jobs.
Aha. Well, you've got the right voice, and you have the right approach for it. I do think that a couple of the pieces in the middle, if you were to read them again and literally take the words off the page and just not do a performance, but if you were really in the moment with it, they might have come across a little bit different, a little more what they ask for today, which is conversational. I mean,
I was trying too hard, I guess.
a little bit. I mean, I don't hear that you're trying too hard. Did you create this demo or did someone create
No,
it?
I went to a professional, and better than I do. It was a long, arduous process to put that together.
Yeah, yeah. And how much time had you spent actually working on voiceover or?
It was a course that I took, and it was a couple of months.
And then from that course comes this demo. Is that
That's exactly right?
Yeah. So I generally don't ever recommend a course where they're like, okay, you're here, we're going to study this, this, and this, and then at the end of the course, you're going to be ready for your first demo. I don't like that approach because I think not everyone is ready at the end of the course, and not everyone is ready at the same time.
Right.
Pieces within that demo that I would keep, and then there's a couple I would just say redo them or find some other copy that you can really make yours and make it more real. And especially now that we're post-COVID, we've been through we're all in this together.
Right.
Would you recommend?
Bad moment to, all right, we're getting through it. This is how it goes. This is where we are, people. It's
Right.
It's just got to be very heartfelt and real. And so I just want to follow through with this, Maureen, because so then what have you done with this demo since?
Unfortunately, I got a busy life, and it's pretty much over the last 3 years I've ignored it. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I haven't really pursued it.
So there's a couple of different kinds of people that try to become that pursue being a voiceover artist or a voice actor. And there are some people who don't really have a living. They don't really have that life, like you're talking about, whatever your previous career was. You said it was more in radio, but now you're, so some people do it because there's nothing else they can do. And they really come to voiceover with I've got to make it in this, or I don't know what's going to happen. And then there are the people that do it. They can afford to make the demo. They can afford to, bide their time before they get an agent and actually start booking and making money. Some people come from I got to do this. I got to make a demo. I got to start acting and doing voiceover, and I've got to make money. So those are the two, Maureen, those are the two different places you can come from. Either you don't have to do this, right? It's something that you think you might be good at and you would enjoy, which I would say that that's more what he is. And then there are the people that come into it. I got to do this. I got to make money. I got to start right away. And then I need an agent. The first thing, I got a demo. I need an agent, as opposed to really being a student of the craft and looking at, there's commercials, there's promo, there's narration, there's corporate narration, there's e-learning, there's radio imaging, there's television affiliate work. So there's all these different aspects to radio, to voiceover, and people sort of choose their lane before they've explored it all. We didn't even go into animation and video games and, so there's so much to this craft.
Right.
Peter, perhaps when you're ready to get back into it, reach out to me, VO Mastery. We have fantastic classes, and maybe you'll be able to explore more areas and decide, which one you'd want to tap into. Because
Randy, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Because there is no age limit for voiceover. Really, it's about where you are now. And you're representing some demographic, some, slice of America right now. And there will be a place for a client that's going to want that perspective.
Okay, thank you so much.
Peter, I know how much you wanted this moment with her, and I'm really glad that we could connect and that you could do this.
Yeah, good, Peter. I just was being,
Oh, yeah. May I just say that it's nice, it's refreshing to see somebody that's at the top of the heap, but is also so nice.
Oh.
Exactly. Peter, thanks a million, darling, and all the best to you. See, that was really lovely, Randy, to do that. Thank you. And I know how much that meant to him, so thank you. So you're really saying study it. Don't decide, here's my demo tape, this is what I do. No, figure it out within that. Just figure out, do I want to, my voice seems to work well in animation. I feel connected to that. Or, I get that.
As an actor, someone who committed to learning the method back in the day, I realize what it is I do and don't want to do today. I don't want to do video games. I don't want to do animation. I don't want to do character type roles. I just like being me. There's, it's so funny because, in the pursuit of my career, you get to a certain point and then you hear after they've turned you down, it's like, they said, get me anyone but Randy Thomas. The time where you're working against that,
So what about this? You're talking about people learning how they need to do what works for them. So when you got out to LA, you're like, hey, I was #1 in Miami. Hello, people. Randy Thomas here. And they're like, whatever. So, because this is life, right? No matter where you are, one place, the other people are like, whatever. It's so crazy, the world. But in order for you to start doing, did you study with people? Did you have mentors? How did you really get proficient at what you wanted to do?
I was so blessed, when I decided that I was going to pursue voiceover, and I didn't know what area of voiceover I would excel in, didn't know promo was open to me because really I wasn't hearing women in promo. And so I first went and studied with Dick Orkin, who is a freaking legend. He was one of the most brilliant actors, writers, producers. He did all those funny commercials in the 70s and 80s, right up to the 90s, where they were very deadpan. He'd always work with a woman, and it was he had that sort of nasal deadpan sort of thing, and they would do these two voicers. He was, I'm in this with you, so I can't find a great Dick Orkin spot, but I'm sure if anyone that is in the industry, they could be looking for it right now. So I got to study with him, and I went to his home and sat in his study with 9 other actors, and I took every course that he offered. And then I went and studied with other people. And then eventually, when I finally figured out that I wanted to do promo, I was still on the radio as a DJ, but I was working at KMET, which was a rock station in LA. And I got friendly. So you have to know who to get friendly with. And I got a guy up at Fox, which was in our same building, who was directing the promos in the room. And I said, listen, if John LaFontaine ever comes in, why don't you just, buzz me at the station? And he called me. He said, Don's coming in 30 minutes. If you want, you can come watch him work. And that was it. So Don LaFontaine showed up at Fox.
For those who don't know Don LaFontaine,
he is in a world. He's that amazingly famous. Are you about to cue a Don LaFontaine song?
No, I don't. I wish I had that. I don't.
So yeah, he was known. Well, he did have a very famous commercial for Blockbuster. Remember where the guy is like, I don't know what to watch, and he's like underneath the desk behind where the cashier is, and he's giving you movie trailers about each film. It was very funny back in the day, and it was Don in there. So because we knew him from doing the movie trailers on TV, he was actually doing them from the Blockbuster. Anyway, so Don was amazing, and he was a legend, and I was blessed. He took an interest in me. He let me ride around with him. He was the voiceover guy, the only one that drove around in a limo, his limo, with his driver, because back in the day, he didn't have time to park.
I don't have time to park. We live in New York City. I don't have time to park. Me and Don, we don't have time to park. Randy Thomas, the queen of voiceovers in America, the Oscars, SAGs, Entertainment Tonight, 14 years. People have questions. So do you have a little bit, 5-10 more minutes with me, Randy? All right. Peaches Rodriguez, a good friend. Sorry?
No charge. I'm coaching. No charge.
No. People they have interesting questions. Peaches Rodriguez, she's a comedian, fantastic, and a break dancer. She wants to know, what do you think about people who advertise voiceover services on Fiverr for like $5? You know, that service where you go, hey,
So here's the thing about Fiverr. So I actually have people who have reached out to me, students, people that I've talked to and trained, that were like cold. They had never considered voiceover. They weren't in radio, because by being in radio, you see, I have a microphone here. I have been in front of a microphone literally since I'm 19 years old. So I'm a big believer in the 10,000 hours, to master. And I achieved that. So to answer this specific question, which I'm losing.
She wants to know, what do you think about people offering services like voiceover on Fiverr?
So this is what I tell. I have people that come to me cold. Maybe they'll take a class or so because they really don't have money to invest in their career at that moment. So they think, okay, I'll put a demo together and I'll put myself on Fiverr. You can actually get work on Fiverr. I tell people, if you have talent, don't go on Fiverr. But if you do, because you're desperate for money and you want to just understand the process, you put your profile up, you wait for an audition, you do the audition, you submit it, you book it. Now you have to redo that audition and with their direction, and then you've got to turn the job around for them. Then you have to invoice them. And I tell people they should do that, just so that they understand the pressure of auditioning, having to record a job and converting it and sending it back in an email with an invoice. Like, where else can you get schooled on this other than, if you're that hungry, just go for Fiverr. But if you're decent and you have talent, I say, change your name. Do not use the name that you want to use eventually when you're qualified to go to the other. We call them P2P, pay to play sites. So I say, go do Fiverr, go make a couple of bucks. Just because it's called Fiverr, they don't necessarily pay $5.
Right.
You can get $50 for doing a voicemail or something. But I say, if you're a total newbie, go there. But don't use the same name that once you get experience in training that you're going to eventually want to use. Because there are people that are watching Fiverr that have very small minds. And so they want to make you pay. They want to say, oh, you used to be on Fiverr. Now I see you here. And they want to out you. It's like, what? Like
they want to hurt you. They want to cause you pain.
Right.
Kim has a really great question for you. Now, Kim, she's popped onto the Clubhouse rooms that we've been on, Randy, and she worked at KGO Radio in San Francisco for many years, and she knows your voice from KCBS Radio. But this question's really cool. She said, you do so many voiceovers all around the country. So do you change? And I'm sure I'd like to hear you do some of this. Depending on what region of the country are you in, are you more sassy? Are you more of a wise ass? Are you more snarky? And if that's the case, can you give us some examples?
That's funny. Well, that wouldn't be, I would do that, but that wouldn't be in relationship to where in the country I'm speaking. That would be in relationship to the kind of radio station that I'm the voice of, or a television station. It would be the format and the persona that I have to take on, as opposed to where in the country they are.
Got it.
But for example, like I used to be in Norfolk, right? Norfolk, Virginia. And I would sort of take on, not like a backwoods thing, but I'd be just kind of friendly and real. And then I have the river in, let me see, where's the river? I'm in Memphis. And then I used to be in, where is the Kentucky Derby? That's in
I
Louisville.
think Kentucky. I picked Kentucky. Go ahead.
Right, Kentucky.
I'm picking Kentucky.
Say it, it's like Kentucky. Like they sort of slur things. So, and Louisville, which we would say it because that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
They go Louisville. No, but it's Louisville. So you have to know how the local people would pronounce something if you're going to take on a job in a specific market.
So you do a lot of television and radio stations, voiceover, imaging, sounds for them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just recently had an amazing thing happen, Maureen. Can I share?
Hello, hold on. Randy wants to share. Here's my official bell. Okay.
So I'm one of the voices of Benstown Branding. So they do all the production for radio stations across the country. And they awarded me my dear friend, Chris Corley, who died a couple of years ago from cancer. He was actually given the first award posthumously. And they didn't give an award last year. And I am the first person to receive the Chris Corley Lifetime Achievement Award in radio for radio imaging and the people that live in the world of radio. So that was really a great honor. That's
a wonderful, congratulations. And because he was a good friend of yours, please tell people who Chris Corley was.
So Chris Corley was the voice of MLB, the MLB, Major League Baseball. He had this big, not unlike Don, this basso profundo, incredible voice. He was the voice of major cable stations and radio stations and networks. And he was a dear friend. He also lived in Fort Myers, Florida, where I was raising my daughter. I was going to say raising my daughter and my husband. And then I'm like, yeah, I did both, actually.
Yeah, both.
So, Chris was from Fort Myers, but he had lived all over. He was a radio guy that became a voiceover guy doing tons of trailers. If you're interested, Chris Corley, Corley, and just hit videos and you'll see all the trailers that he was a part of. And his son, Christopher Corley, is just a junior now. He's going to Clemson. He actually lost both of his parents.
I'm sorry.
A very dear friend and a mentee of mine, because he is, now that he's in his going into his junior year of college, he's thinking about what else aside from college. Like my daughter, she didn't want to just do a job. She also wants to have a second job, and her second job is voiceover. So I'm helping Chris study and figure out what he'll do in terms of voiceover. He really wants to do promo because that's what his dad did. And so we're helping him, and he's got the voice, he's got the talent, he's willing to put in the hard work. So yeah.
Well, congratulations on the award, Randy. I have a few more questions for you. Oh, this is an important one. Charlotte asks, how do you keep your voice healthy? And I know you're into some earthy, crunchy cinnamon. I know you like cinnamon. I'm teasing you. Tell her how you do it.
Well, I use Young Living organic essential oils. One of them is Eve's, which is cinnamon, clove, and lemon, and it's amazing. I also love this particular oil. It's called Clarity. And I will actually take it and put a drop right on my tongue. Lingual, it's got like a licorice taste, and it sort of cleans up the palate. But really, taking care of your voice has a lot to do with before you get to the moment where you're in front of the mic. And that is, try to eliminate sugar. If you can cut sugar and just things that, it's okay to make any dessert as long as you make it from scratch and for yourself. But don't eat garbage. Sugar is just a bad thing.
Because it's inflammatory, and then you get the...
Absolutely. And orange juice even. Most people think you want to eat it or drink it because it's vitamin C. It's good for you, but it actually makes you very phlegmy. So I eliminate chocolate, I eliminate sugar and orange juice, any of the citrus things when I'm getting close to a major show. But majorly, it's a ton of water and trying to eat clean.
Eat healthy. I want to give a shout out to James Donnelly. Hiya, James. He used to listen on KGO when I was there. And he, hi to Randy. He says that, we were talking about the worst candy of all time. And he said it was circus peanuts. See, things bring people together, Randy. Circus peanuts. James and I are now connected. And he's watching you now. It's all good. Would you, I'm going to check some more out here. Would you, Randy, I love when you were on the Clubhouse last week, and I was listening to you on the Clubhouse.
As opposed to the Facebook.
Yeah, the Facebook. My mother's always like, I was on the .com looking up the airfares to go to the Ireland. You know, I'm like, all right. So that's so funny. I want you to before I let you go, I want to hear, did you have to audition for the Oscars? Or did they know you well enough at that point?
Yeah, no. I was a DJ on the radio. I was doing mornings on 94.7 The Wave here in Los Angeles. And it was a station which was unlike most because we were flooded with women. So there was myself and a gal named Talaya Trigueros. She did midday. Then there was a guy in the afternoon, and Carrie Tombazian was on at night. And all of the women on my radio station were invited to audition for the Oscars. It was secret, because no one was supposed to know for that Oscars, the year of the woman, that it was a woman behind the mic. I was told once they gave me the job that if I leaked that and anyone found out that I had the job, I would lose it before it started.
Ooh, that's pressure.
And that was a lot of pressure, but that was my first, and that was in 1993. And Jeff Margolis was the director, and Gil Cates, may he rest in peace, he was the producer. He made so many great Oscar shows. So I auditioned, and it took about 2 weeks before I found out. And I had actually heard someone else at the radio station had gotten it. And I so I didn't get it. And then I found out it was me. And and then they fired me 3 months later.
Who did? The radio station?
The station, yeah. They wanted to change the morning show to something different. So
that's insane. It's so insane. Okay, so what about, do you recall what you had to do during that audition? Can you remember and share that? Will you share some of that?
It was yesterday.
Okay, go ahead. Well, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Thomas auditioning in 1992 for the Oscars. Thank you.
So I'm standing there in front of Jeff Margolis and Gil Cates, and they handed me an index card. They said, just read it like if you were the announcer. Live from Los Angeles, it's the Academy Awards tonight, or whatever I was supposed to say. And they were like, hey, can you go back to the radio station and record that and get that to us? I'm like, okay. So I did. And apparently they asked all the other women to do the same. And it took about 10 days after that I found out it was me.
Would you also, okay, so if somebody told you to do something in a snarky voice or a wise ass, can you, I know you've done 8 million, you can do whatever copy you want. Would you do, if they said, do welcome to the Oscars in a snarky wise ass voice, what would that sound like?
Welcome to the Oscars. That would be like, welcome to the Oscars. Tonight we're handing out a bunch of golden boys. Hope you enjoy. You're turning me into a comic. What am I doing here?
That was very good, though. Very good. And what if you had to say it so romantically? You just have to be so romantic with the Oscars.
Well, that actually is sort of the motivation when you do the commercial copy. So when you book the Oscars, you're doing all of the live introductions, but the job is so much more than that. Anything that gets married to a graphic has to be pre-recorded. So when it would come to, for example, the commercial billboards, and I would have to go into a studio, I would get into kind of a sexy place. Mm-hmm. It would be something like, whatever number Oscars it would be, the 65th Academy Awards brought to you by Cadillac, something like that.
Cadillac.
Yeah.
Cadillac. Cadillac.
There you go. So, but I always tell my students, if you're going to do a live show and your energy is up and, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, so you're in this space. And then when they go to a commercial break, you don't want them to think a different person did it. So my trick would be I'd sort of say the top of the commercial break, like I just sounded on the show, and coming up next, it's, blah, 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 and Best Picture, the 65th Academy Awards, brought to you by Cadillac. So I'd meet my voice with my voice in the right tone, and then I'd go sexy on it. So the last thing you hear me say is a little sexy, and then it goes to commercial.
So there's the consistency from the beginning. Hey, we got a hello from a listener, Adrian Bell. He's at the Wave 947 in Canada. 94, I'm sure, 0.7 is what he means. Adrian says hello to you. Kim says you have finesse. You're dripping in finesse, she says.
Ooh. Well, you got to be dripping in something. Finesse is good.
Finesse is friggin' awesome. You have been a gem to spend this kind of time with me. You spent an hour with me, Randy.
I love it. It went by in a moment.
So leave people with, I don't know, I want you to, I love your voice. So I want you to do, I don't know.
When you open your show, well, I'm going to pre-record. Let me pre-record and send you something. And I'll even help create an open for you. I do love your graphic, Hanging with Langan.
Hanging with Langan, of course. Yeah. Whatever you need to help me, to help you, to help me, I'm there for you.
Welcome to Hanging with Langan. Now, here's your host, Maureen Langan.
Are you really going to do that? Because I'm going to use that.
Yes, I'll record it for you so you have an actual MP3 of it. I'll give you a few variations.
That's one of the things you do in voiceovers. You do 3 takes. They're all different. That's what I learned from Randy. I do 3 the same.
ABC.
Sorry?
It's an ABC take.
Just explain that before we let you go.
Because if you do 3 in a row, A, B, and then the third one is your C, and then the third one should always be the fastest. It's just what I learned. So you give 2 different variations, but then the third one, whatever you're going to do, just make it the fastest. Because in my world, in promo and whatnot, the editors are always looking for the fastest take.
Really?
So, yeah, sometimes they just look at the waveforms and they're like, oh, that looks too long. That's too long. Oh, that one's really short. Let me grab that. So it doesn't even matter if it was the best take. They just wanted the fastest take.
And for you who don't know, if you don't know what waveforms are, you can see it, the audio files on your computer, and you're like, okay, you want the breaths closer. You can see all that. Sometimes when I have to edit something out, I'm like, oh, damn, they said that so fast, I can't get a clean edit or put something in there. What I want to, so the first take and the second take should be different. And then whichever one you like the best, you just make it fast.
Correct.
Yeah. I want people to know Randy offers consultations so affordably. Go to, I'm shocked by, you're just like so amazing. So it's randythomasvo.com is the website, right, Randy?
Yeah. So that website is actually living on randythomasvo.com. Yes. We're creating our own page for it. It'll be a back page. But my daughter and I are partners with VO Mastery, which is super fun for me. So if you write Rachel at vomastery.com, she will schedule you or keep you posted on our next classes. And we have classes for all levels. We have pro level classes. We have beginners, intermediate. I've been enjoying it. I started VO Mastery in 2013 when I was in Fort Myers because I had no friends in Florida. All my friends were here in LA and in New York. And I'm like, come to Florida. So for 2 years, I created an event. Oh, thank you. I created an event and people literally came. I had the top voice actors in the country coming and teaching from a beautiful space in Fort Myers. And then my daughter graduated high school and went to USC, and it was like, let's sell the house and move to California because I'm not letting her out of my sight.
Move to Beverly, well, Malibu. So, but close enough. Rachel at VO I'm sorry, Randy.
It's where I used to live, but anyway.
Rachel at, oh, you used to live there. You've moved. I know that. I'm going to have to find out where you are now. Rachel at vomastery.com. That's right. You know, I forgot about that. Damn.
And we'll let you know whatever we're doing. So thank you.
Rachel at vomastery.com. Rachel at vomastery.com. Check it out. So accessible. The Randy you're seeing here now is the warmth, how genuine. I can't even tell you. I met this woman at a birthday party I was doing, and she just has reached out to me and has opened to your arms. You are so contagious, and I feel so fortunate to know you. I truly do.
First of all, let me just say, when I met you, I was laughing so hard at your routine at my dear friend's birthday party. I was plotzing, and I'm like, who is this woman? She is so freaking funny. And I made it a point to remember you and reach out to you. And then when I found you on Facebook, and, you know, it's really a mutual admiration society because I'm a huge fan of yours. And
oh, Randy, thank you. And you guys, I'm going to put you in the green room and just say goodbye to you off this camera thing.
guys, thanks for listening. Take care.
And that's, oh, say something. Oh, no, before you go, say, Maureen, say something very New York. Maureen, I'll talk to you soon. We'll have coffee.
Maureen, listen, we got to have some coffee, little coffee talk, okay? Whatever you're doing later, you know, we'll put a little schnapps and we'll have some coffee. We'll talk. All right, darling?
Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Thomas, VO on Instagram, Randy Thomas, the voice artist on Facebook. And what a pleasure to have her here. That was such a treat, you guys. And I would love it if you would please follow me, Hanging with Langan, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, all the major platforms. Please do that. That would really, we're growing the numbers. This will all be uploaded on those sites. And if you want to see all of the videos, they're videos. They're not going on to audio platforms like Apple and Spotify and iHeart. So please go to patreon.com, Maureen Langan, and follow me there. Subscribe. It starts at $5 a month. It's like less than a cup of coffee. It's $4. And get a Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt. You can, when you subscribe at $25, I'll send you a Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt. Or you can go to maureenlangan.com and get all kinds of, you can buy any Don't Make Me Hate You merchandise. It's all there for you. We got masks, baby tees, coasters. Don't Make Me Hate You. They're really fun. All right. So listen, tune in next week. We have Jim David. Jim David is a killer comic. My God, you guys, he is droll. Do you know what droll is? He is so droll and so funny and so hysterical. He's joining me next week. We're doing the shows now, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You have all been so supportive. I thank you all for being here, and I'll see you again next week. And until we meet again, bye, wig. Mwah.